What if Perfect Cell was actually perfect? How could Dr. Gero have modified Cell to ensure he was more suitable for the job, or at least ground him into staying on a set path? Who should have Dr. Gero removed from Cell's genetic makeup, and how would it make it different? Hit the like if you're a fan of Cell, scholars. You're gonna love this one, as it's a continuation of my previous topic about Cell not being perfect. This time, we're looking on how to fix this biological android. Perfect Cell was never perfect, and we know this. He lost for one, as proof of his failure, because even perfection should truly not lose to any number of Z fighters, but he did, and even got beat up and blown apart a few times during his final form against Vegeta, Goku, and Gohan. But more importantly, how it got to Cell's true defeat was miscalculation after miscalculation on Cell's part. Even certain decisions like creating the Cell games just opened a door for his own defeat. Sure, he was entertaining, a great villain, and maybe we can say he was a perfect entertainer, but perfect being or perfect fighter? He had flaws, which was a result of combining 5 of the most powerful fighters in Dragon Ball at the time. The pros about that was that Cell's power was enhanced along with his skill set, making him a physical masterpiece. But even Akira Toriyama stated mind is just as important as body. The whole mind, body, and spirit principle of Dragon Ball, and Cell's mindset was completely spiraling out of control. You could say too many chefs in the kitchen when it comes to his mentality, from having Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, King Cold, and Frieza as part of his genetic makeup. So let's find out what would happen if we remove the certain cells of certain characters in Cell's genetic makeup. Was there an ideal balance of cells, and could it be the more ingredients in the mix, the bigger recipe for disaster it turns into? Yo scholars, check out today's newest video game deals on the main page of Instant Gaming. I've left you my promo link in description and pin post. If you pick up any of these deals using my link, you'll also be helping support my channel. It's super fast, legit, it's easy to pick up these cheap deals. The best I've seen on the internet: Dragon Ball games, Final Fantasy, Sonic, all platforms, all regions. There's an awesome deal on there right now: Doom the Dark Ages Premium Edition and Early Access. Get the pre-order right now with 23% off. Once again, I highly recommend using my link, guys, and happy gaming. So let's talk about Cell if he did not have Goku cells. Goku's key contributions to Cell was his Saiyan adaptability and Zenkai power. Goku cells provide a portion of the Saiyan ability to increase in power after surviving near-fatal injuries. He's also got battle creativity. Goku is known for his improvisational genius in combat. He's also playful, fair fight mentality. Much of Cell's inclination to toy with opponents and create the Cell games can be traced to Goku's love of testing limits. But removing it would make some changes to Cell's mind, less playful and fair. With no Goku cells, Cell loses that aspect of fighting for fun or giving foes a chance to power up. He becomes more clinical, less interested in a proper challenge, and more focused on total victory. Cunning, originally derived from Goku's on-the-fly thinking, is diminished. While Cell still has some tactical sense from Piccolo cells and other fighters, he won't be as quick to innovate in the heat of battle. He'll also get weaker healing surges. He might still possess Saiyan DNA from Vegeta's side, but absent Goku's specific genetics, some synergy that grants those big post-injury boosts may be reduced compared to what he had normally. And as well, Goku's intense training and unique Saiyan potential might have contributed some intangible Goku factor. Removing it could lower Cell's ultimate power ceiling, although he's still quite strong if Vegeta's DNA remains, and of course, Frieza's. Basically, hypothetical outcome: no Cell games. I think instead of announcing a grand tournament to test his might, the Cell would likely just try to eliminate all threats swiftly, being more ruthless, giving the Z fighters fewer breathers. And the final battle, Gohan doesn't get the chance to transform in a sporting event. A quick, brutal confrontation ensues, where Cell fights with lethal intent from the start. So maybe Goku cells were the biggest influence, but let's move on. What if Cell didn't have Vegeta cells? Vegeta's key contributions to Cell: the Saiyan pride and elite arrogance. Vegeta's ego often leads him to toy with enemies, allowing them to grow stronger. Vegeta's lineage is that of the Prince of all Saiyans, carrying a unique intensity in combat, and his prideful ambition can push him to surpass limits. You remove the cells, Cell might become less arrogant, loses the brash, overconfident personality quirks inherited from Vegeta. He's more clinical and possibly less inclined to let foes power up. No warrior's pride obsession. While Goku's cells still might give him a taste for a good fight, the extreme "I'm the strongest" bravado from Vegeta's DNA is gone. Cell might taunt less and focus on efficiency. Again, the same with Goku, we get fewer explosive Saiyan power-ups. And his fighting style may change. Vegeta's cells likely help Cell incorporate some of Vegeta's techniques or styles, such as Vegeta's technique, we all know that one. Without them, he might fight more methodically, influenced by Piccolo's approach. But the hypothetical outcome is an earlier completion. Cell might not rely on Vegeta's typical arrogance to reach perfect form, tries to accomplish that quietly, he won't bother to show off or wait for the androids to be reactivated or anything of that sort. And also, his fight with Vegeta, if that still happens, without the shared arrogance, he won't amuse Vegeta's challenges or let Vegeta test him. He'd end the fight as soon as possible. But then he wouldn't know the ins and outs of Vegeta, so wouldn't be able to lead him on. But the final result, the lack of Vegeta's signature pride, possibly makes Cell more dangerous tactically, but ironically might lower his maximum raw power, less synergy with the existing Saiyan genetics. But what about Piccolo's cells? We all know Piccolo's key contributions include the Namekian regeneration, the strategic mind. Piccolo is an astute strategist influencing Cell's cunning, but without Piccolo's cells and his mind, Cell becomes less tactical, becoming a more straightforward or even brute force orientated. And Piccolo's evolution from villain to hero gave him empathy and deeper insight. Even the dark side version might help Cell plan or adapt. Without it, Cell is a bit more surface level in his approach. The regeneration is a big one. Cell definitely wouldn't get as far as he did, but that's from a physical standpoint. Without regeneration, Cell might fight more carefully. The main outcomes of this is the way he battles, his thinking strategy. He was very smart in completing his goals. In a nutshell, it's basically Cell with less intelligence. Oh, and no self-destruction return. Now it gets interesting. Cell without Frieza's cells. Contributing factors are enormous base power. Frieza's race is renowned for tremendous strength even without rigorous training, more than the Saiyans. His vicious and sadistic nature, Frieza's cruelty appears in Cell's enjoyment of his opponent's suffering, transformative adaptability, Cell's transformations are tied to absorbing androids, Frieza's DNA likely helps handling major morphological changes smoothly. Without Frieza's cells, Cell becomes less sadistic, and fewer galactic conquest motives. He might not have that tyrant flair. While still dangerous, he's less flamboyantly evil and just determined to prove strength, influenced by Saiyan or Dr. Gero's programming. Physically, he'd lose peak power, possibly more vulnerable. Frieza's durability is legendary. Without it, Cell's defenses might be noticeably weaker. And without Frieza's cells, he might be beaten early. The Z-Fighters might defeat Cell once he achieves perfect form, but before he fully outclasses them. This is because his overall power potential would have dropped massively without Frieza's cells. He might still host a Cell games, but not out of being sadistic, just a Saiyan-like challenge for strong opponents. But what about King Cole's cells? Much like Frieza physically and also mentally, but he's got that regal confidence. King Cole carries himself with a certain imperial arrogance akin to Frieza's. They basically reinforce or refine what Frieza's genetics are, which is quite deadly for Cell's potential. I think removing King Cole's cells would result in the smallest amount of changes to Cell, due to the fact Frieza's are still there. And Frieza and his father are pretty much the same. Frieza a little bit more sadistic in my opinion. Cell, I think he would lose a bit of that regal swagger, but overall he'd remain quite fearsome, especially if the other cells are intact. But putting it all together, Cell's terrifying might in Dragon Ball Z comes from the combination of those cells. But if you remove a few of these, it does have noticeable consequences in my opinion. In order for Cell to be as perfect as possible, he needs that Piccolo regen and that intellect. He needs Frieza's might. And he needs the Saiyan genetics as well, just to make him broken when combining it with Frieza's cells. So in my opinion, I feel like if you remove King Cold and also Goku's cells, just leaving Vegeta's, Frieza's, and Piccolo's, I think we would have a Cell far more grounded and straightforward. A very ruthless villain indeed. King Cold's not so much because he doesn't make that much of a difference, but it does enhance Frieza's power, so I suppose if we keep that in there, King Cold's power, and just remove Goku's cells, yes, Cell would be the most vicious villain of all time. Until Kid Buu turns up. You guys let me know in the comments, how could you make Cell perfect? Who would you add to Cell's cells outside of these 5? I know in the anime, I think it was the dub, they mentioned Cell has other fighters in there, but in Toriyama's manga, it's only those 5. But leave me a comment on how you would do it, and hit the like, that really helps out. A huge shout out to Fiberglass Records, my Patreon supporter, for their idea for this topic on how to create Cell perfect. Thank you so much for supporting my channel as part of the End of GT tier on Patreon. It means a lot going that extra mile, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Fiberglass Records. I just want to give a shout out to their YouTube channel as well. If you want some snazzy British humor, go check out Fiberglass Records. I've put their link in my description to their channel, so scholars, if you could be true role models and help them hit their first milestone of 100 subs, that would be awesome and really help them out. And thank you all for watching today. Until we meet again.